think YouTube is just a little bit quiet, is why you didn't hear anything. So I cranked it. So now we have plenty of music, sort of, until the next song needs to come in because it just faded out. So it's even super duper quiet earlier. Okay, where are we? It is Tuesday, my dudes. Is my title correct? Hold on. Mute myself. No, we're good. We're good. Correct title. Okay. I have to update so many things. I need like a checklist. I need like a pre-flight list that I have to go through all the check marks on before I hit start streaming. I kind of just hit start streaming. I'm printing out stuff. Hey, what's up, Tim? What's up, Bad Direction? Ooh, let's fix this a little bit, huh? First of all, get this shit out of here. Do a little camera work. Like that. I can get a, let's see, where can this live that will be on camera? Should like double-sided tape it over here. So I'm not being sponsored by any of these crate companies. Is that visible? That's not visible, but it'll be visible here. That's actually the exact length of that bar. That's kind of cool. I didn't know that. That's interesting. I didn't know that at all. That's perfect. Yeah, we're gonna put laser beams on sharks finally. We can crack that technology egg. I need a 3D model and print an invention I just thought of 10 minutes ago. We'll get cracking. Get crack-a-lackin'. Where is this camera? This one is, well, let's hit the setup and then I can hit BTS procedure. My beard's getting a little too long. It's gotten to the point where when I look down, it's like, it's getting flattened and like going out like that, which is not cool. So I think I need to trim down the beard a little bit. Everybody goes, oh no, don't cut your hair and trim your beard. And I'm like, dude, I feel terrible. Like, I need to get on top of things and sort myself out because I feel like, I don't know, like I've neglected everything appearance-wise. That's pretty good. Oh. They have all kinds of stuff for that, but yeah, if you could print something, that'd be awesome. Almost wrap myself in your stretch sheet. Is your stretch sheet the wrong size? Because it really should stay on there. The IKEA ones that were sold many, many years ago that for some reason I still have like a Velcro strap that goes underneath that actually Velcros it and keeps it all in. Yeah, I usually feel better when I trim my beard. When I get a haircut and trim the beard, it's like night and day. Like I feel like a new person. And I think I'm like a month or two from one of those blood drawing appointments. That's another one of those like reinventions that I feel like, I'm refreshed, right? After one of those, and my sleeping patterns, my drinking patterns particularly are terrible right now. And I need to fix it all. So I'm gonna fix it all, and maybe I'll try to get like a Wednesday appointment for my hair, get my hair did at a salon because I grew it out so that there was more to work with. But every time I go back to these same barbers, they get mad at me. They just go, you should be in here every 3 weeks. Like, what are you doing? Like, why? I'm going to charge you more now. And it's like, well, because I don't know. I want to do something different with my hair. Like, I want one of them $300 haircuts. No, not quite that. I want a reasonably priced haircut, but I want a stylist instead of just a barber. Bar. These are 2 extra ones. I've got 2 more on the desk, and I've loaded up the clear red filament so that we have plenty to test with. They're not as deeply colored as this one is, though. I don't know what I did differently on this one. No, maybe they're the same. They're about the same. For you guys, they just look blown out because the camera does weird stuff with the colors. So they just want the regular income. I don't think barbers are into min-maxing for their profit margins. I could be wrong, but I don't consider them to be min-maxing. Washing them a few times, mess it up. Always moving them while I'm asleep, dreaming about fighting demon Furbies. That's a hell of a thing. Yeah. Well, hey, maybe you'll make it big with your invention. Am I significantly louder than the music? No, I'm going to turn it down just a little bit. There we go. I don't know if that was much, but it's something. Stupid logarithms. Well, I think they would probably get more money if I came in regularly. I don't think it works out quite that way. You know, we'd have to run the numbers, but I have a feeling that if I were going in there every couple weeks instead of every couple months, I'd be making a lot more money. So I got my 3 uploads, actually 4 uploads done yesterday. Feeling good. Feeling like I'm actually progressing. But there's still 220 some odd videos to get through, though. It's a slow progress, and every now and then I'll skip one because it's super duper boring or nothing gets done. But yeah, right now these are streams where we are refurbishing the wheel and making that fully functional. And there's a lot of really cool stuff with reverse engineering in there, but I think a lot of stuff happens off camera too. So I don't know if I can get away with skipping any. Yeah, I don't know. It's silly that they would charge me more. That's why I'm going to a different barber. That's why I'm not going there anymore. Follows, and then OctoJ's resub for 1 billion months. All right, so I'm up to date on that. I'm up to date there. I gotta keep an eye out today in case, you know, people sub and stuff, and I'll miss it because the Social Stream Blade web thing that I have open misses them. I'm gonna make sure that I don't miss them because they're important. They're important to me. The only videos that don't get copy strikes that I upload are the ones, not strikes, but they get copyright warnings, are the ones that I've played the FTL soundtrack in the background or any other game soundtrack. So every now and then I get one that has no monetization issues. Not that I have enough followers or view hours on the channel to even approach monetization. I don't know where I am with that. I think YouTube got sick of my shit. I think they got sick of the multi-hour uploads because yeah, there's just not a lot of views on a lot of these things. I mean, like 100 views, 150 views, it's pretty cool, man. Oh yeah, I called everything Big Wheel, and then I changed titles in the middle of it. So I need to sort that out. I probably need to edit some titles. Yeah, I'm kind of shocked that I'm getting like 150 views on some of these. That's nice. Very cool. What do my analytics say? Am I allowed to show analytics? Views, 3.2K. Hey, that's approaching 4,000. Isn't 4,000 like a big deal? 168 subs. I have 300 on the other account. Hey, Knack, how's it going? I'm looking at just YouTube stats for my VOD channel. I have 250. How many? Hang on, how many? Content, and then I go into here and I look at 225 videos. 225 videos still to get through, and I'm doing skipping through them and showing all of the stuff that happens during a stream, so that 226 in this folder. Oh yeah, that means I need to move this one. 419, you're in the uploaded pile. This is a 6 terabyte drive. But yeah, these are all of my old streams going back to 22, and I'm starting to really spool up the VOD channel. So I'm just looking at like, hey, am I close to being able to like monetize? Everything is just a wash. I think I can use FFmpeg to cut the intros, and that might solve some of my issues. I think I need to get a haircut before I do that. Those two are completely unrelated. It just has to do with how I feel. I don't have the wherewithal to. Why is this a scene? What is this? What? Huh? Go back over here. That one's the microscope. All right, yeah, so that's all primed. And this one's the computer view. Cool, 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 cool. I'm scheduled up to March 7th. Some of these have none on them. It'd be nice if more of them could. I could probably get there if I do monetize. I'm going to start cutting the intros out for where I'm stealing Metronomic Live's music. He has not streamed in a long time. I think he's doing fine. He's probably doing actual events in New York instead of streaming stuff, because I think he just pivoted over to streaming during the pandemic. Print, print, print. Printing, printing, printing. I bought one of these boroscope cameras. It's that wire that's sitting at the bottom of the screen there. And I don't know what I want to do with it. If I want to put it all the way up on the hot end, because it's got its own light. So we'd be able to observe the filament going down, but like I could also just pose it like this, and then it would be, I don't know what kind of video we're gonna get out of this. I don't know if it can be an entire scene or what. It can go into the Raspberry Pi, and I think I get video from that, or pictures or something. I think I get video, but I don't know what the latency is on that. But it would be good to be able to see and have as a thing. And the question is if I ever get the Raspberry Pi 5, if it's able to do the network video thing, because then I can have two stations that will put video onto the network, and then I don't have to move cameras around, and I can have good video on all the stuff that's relevant to the stream. That would be very nice to have. That would be nice. I'm not getting my nails did, but we do have UV resin. Yeah, it's in part also to just clean up around here and make sure that I've got, you know, like if I have permanent camera installations that aren't running wires all over the place. I'm kind of dug into a lot of the areas here, and there's some weird wiring that's going on. But yeah, it gets difficult when I want to like stream games. I need to move stuff around, and when I want to like do a doctor's appointment, I need to move stuff around. So, and then I'm hoping at some point I learn how to use one of those window mover thingies. It's something that Stream Deck has, where it'll put all your windows in the proper spots, and that would be really, really useful for me for setting up stream so that everything is in a predictable location. But yeah, we're gonna be playing with lasers today. So the latest thing that's going around is one of those big popular boys, the big popular streamers, floated the question, it might have been Hassan, I'm not sure, floated the question, is streaming more difficult than a day job? And it's such a stupid, it's so dumb. It's so dumb, the kinds of drama that gets cooked up around streaming. How difficult your life is. The three of them wandering around a mall going, oh, look, that thing's cool, while making millions of dollars, asking the question, is my life actually very difficult? Am I sacrificing something by doing this? You're walking around a mall with a camera. You fuck. I'm actually sacrificing a lot for this, for sitting here in front of a camera. It's very stressful. Print, print, print. Hopefully these will be completely superfluous, and what we're trying to do today will succeed, because it partially succeeded last time, only it had the effect of blocking water from getting around that metal jacket. I don't see why it would hold on to as much heat as it did in the presence of cool water. So I think something happened that didn't make the cool water from actually cascading across. Oh, I missed a chat. Somewhere 5 to 10 years ago, I bought a $30 hair trimmer. Saved tons of money. See, I don't know the first thing about trimming hair, and I guess I could probably learn. I mean, YouTube is a thing, right? I could look up a bunch of YouTube videos and probably get a lot of information about how to actually do the job of cutting hair. I don't have anything to like fade between stuff. What's YouTube? I don't remember. But like, I mean, I guess I could learn it and try to cut my own, but I think it would probably be a disaster. I can do my own beard. You know, I did buy the very nice, super sharp, like I think Japanese trimmers that have like the tension adjustment and everything. They're really nice. They were not expensive, but I can do the beard with those. It's perfectly easy. But doing my hair scares me, so rather leave it up to the professionals. I'm not the kind of person that just does like a numbered buzz. I have beautiful and soft and fluffy hair. Everybody is jealous of it at all times. But yeah, I still need to get it properly. Hey, Veet Nukem! Continuing gift sub that Chimera Swede gave. Hey, Veet Nukem, thank you very much. Thank you, thank you, thank you. I really appreciate continued subs. That's very nice of you. I haven't seen that message in a while. Printing, printing, printing. I'm going to fast forward the music because it's in kind of an ambient location. If I can find it. If I can find the window that's playing the music. There it is. All the way back to battle. Go around the planet and leave a bit more in front. I'm done with the hair. Yeah, people who just like buzz. They just nerp. God, how traumatized would you guys be if I did that? That would cause legitimate trauma. As you grow, unlock more benefits. Eligibility. May take up to a week to update. 160 out of 500 subscribers. Oh, you have to do one and one of the following. I think do you have to do both in one? 777 public watch hours. 0 public shorts views. Well, yeah, because I don't have any. Head shave streamer. Could you imagine? That would completely destroy. Celia Russell would leave and never come back. 168 out of 1,000. 7 out of blah 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 blah. Yeah, the metrics are not that happy on the on this channel, the VOD channel, but it's a VOD channel. It's just there for posterity. It's there in case you want to see my greatest moment, like when I went, I don't know. Boom, boom, boom. This is not what I thought it was going to be. No. Actually, yeah, this one's fine. Well, I only really have one thing to try today, so I guess we'll try it and just see what would happen. What do you look like without a beard? I have a picture of it. It's deep, deep, deep within. Hey, Veet Nukem! What are you doing? Why'd you do that? What the heck? That's illegal. Gifted a sub, a tier 2, dude. Veet Nukem, thank you. And it went to Ninja BitDev. I have a picture. It's deep within some hard drives. I could try to find it right now of Bother without a beard, and I've traumatized chat with it before. BTS back. It's back being worked on. Let's clarify that statement very carefully here. All right, so let's see. I need to go to. Actually, I don't know if this computer has access to the FreeNAS, and if I do open this up, you guys are not allowed to see any of this. I think I can log into it. Nope, I'm not allowed to access it from here, which is rightfully so. So you don't get to see me without a beard. I had a strong chin line, but I was a bit thinner than I am now. I'm a little bit round at the moment, and I'm hoping to alleviate that even just a little bit. I need walkies with the dog has helped certainly, but it's not doing a lot. So I need to kind of springboard off of the increase of activity and really kind of hunker down, maybe set up the exercise bike or something. But I had a good chin line. People were kind of sad that I grew a beard. A friend of mine was very sad that I grew a beard, but I also grow a good beard. So I have a fake non-double chin. I probably have a double chin if I shave. I probably would have one because I can kind of see it in there. But yeah, I had a good jawline, but I was very baby faced in the picture that that I took that so long ago. It was when I was living in Virginia and working for Boozel and Hamilton I actually had an interview with DARPA because they were looking for like different positions, and the DARPA guy called in the middle of a shower. So I had a naked interview with DARPA where I laid it all out. They didn't end up going with me because I was a little too honest. They said, "Look, I'm not sure if I'm exactly qualified for this." Me standing in the living room with my cell phone up to my face, completely naked. I don't know if the blinds were drawn. The neighbors didn't talk to me for a month. But yeah, that was a weird interview, primarily because I wasn't wearing clothing. Water fast days, that can't be good for your kidneys. I overhydrate most of the time because I'm diabetic, and it's better to flush them kidneys out. The big concern is, you know, blood pressure and kidneys, and I actually haven't been on my blood pressure medication for a little while. I gotta remember to work on that tonight, because they messed up the prescription, and my provider said, "Nah, we don't cover that." And it's like, wait a minute, huh? So all that really has to happen is I need to kind of sort people out and make sure that they call each other. I know, bad bother. I know. But I have been hydrating. I've been decent to my kidneys. And also the puppy dog gets me running around all the time. Although she has that tendon issue now, so I got to be careful with her. Only going to drink the water I need, not anything crazy. All right, well, yeah, good. Stay hydrated. Are you going to be fasting? Or is it specifically a water fast? The macros in MyFitnessPal. Everybody's telling me about MyFitnessPal, and I tried it once, I think, and it was too much like diabetes, where you log every single thing that goes on. Big freeing factor in my management has been the Android auto pancreas system. Let's see, there's no personal information on here now. So I have a glucose level that just sits on my phone constantly that I can glance at. And I'm hyperglycemic right now because I just ate lunch. The insulin needs time to catch up to the food. But, oh yeah, and I can also do this. Where's my overlays? Let's see. Where is that? The other thing I can do with Android APS that you can't do with other software. Where'd that go? Oh, there it is. I can overlay my blood glucose on the screen. Don't worry about the number. It's almost 300 Gs. I took Jardiance late in the day too, so that might be factoring in a little bit on that too. But it was definitely only 40 grams. I don't know. But that is up to date. That is 5 minutes ago. My blood, the sugar in my blood is 281 somethings per deciliter. I forget what are the units of measurement? mmol per deciliter. 281 mmol per deciliter. But yeah, that's thanks to Android APS, an auto pancreas system that runs off of a third-party app and speaks to Bluetooth low energy insulin pump, which is something that is stuck to my side. Actually, it's all the way over here. That holds insulin and gives me divvies out the insulin throughout the day. I can also do I do external injections as well, but the phone is also reading from a blood glucose sensor, which is up on my shoulder, and that's giving Bluetooth low energy signals to the phone. So the phone's coordinating all that stuff, and it figures out exactly how much tiny little microdoses of insulin I get per whatever time I've set up on it. And I've set it up to be pretty aggressive. The pods, unfortunately, don't hold a lot of insulin. I'm a big guy. I use a lot of insulin. I have a lot of insulin resistances from taking, you respond to your own supply of insulin really, really well. You don't respond to external insulin very well. And I'm not on very fast-acting insulin because I'm on a public health plan. So I can't get the good stuff. The good stuff is like really expensive too. But what this is able to do is give me these little tiny microdoses of insulin, and it'll pull that level back down automatically. I don't have to do anything. I don't have to think about it. I don't even have to check in with it. It'll just do it because I have it set correctly. I need to do the software update on that, which means running Android, whatever it is, App Studio thing. That's another thing that I have to get on top of. Things are starting to pile up that I need to address. Piling up. Life is piling up. We are waiting in the mail for my man baby project. My man baby project is a expensive professional RC car frame, but it's still 1/28 scale, so it's still the really cute little pocket car that I can whip it out in public and race it around on the streets outside, and it'll go like, I think 75 miles an hour. I really want to get a high-speed run with that thing. We tried to do it with the cheap WL Toys kit, and that was a lot of fun. We learned a lot. I was this close to trying generative design in AutoCAD, and my brain just went, pfft, and it blew a fuse. And I went, I'm tired of dealing, because I was looking at like the parts that I had on that kit, and they were cheap, and so the wheels were wobbly, and it just, everything was like piling up and becoming cheaper and cheaper, and my measurements for my 3D model were wrong, or they were correct and something was out of place. I don't know. I was getting different numbers IRL than I was in CAD, and it just blew a fuse. And so I spent a couple $100. Well, okay, $200 I spent on this kit. That's a lot of money for a little tiny RC car, but we're gonna see what the difference between the $60 car that we put hundreds of hours of work into and the $200 car that I put no hours of work into, what the differences are. I think that's going to be a really cool comparison. It'll be nice to know. But yeah, that's me being a giant child. I am a 12-year-old at heart. But that's in Wilmington, Delaware right now. Yeah, I mean, if we all admit properly, we're all 12-year-olds in the end. I've seen a lot of posts where people are like, my 38-year-old friend is like still living at home. And I'm like, oh. Oh. People take themselves too seriously, though. There's a lot of posts where people are like, you know, oh, you shouldn't be playing with playing Xbox and stuff like that. It's like, no, you absolutely should. Do what makes you happy. For me, that's RC car. But I'm probably going to have less running time than building time. 32 today, and I feel like I'm 13. Knack. I recently went over the hill, over the big hill, the big 4 number, and I've never been the same since. Listen, it's the new 30, okay? It's the new 30. How's the view up there? Bleak. The big 50 minus 10. I've stopped correcting my friends when they start bitching about being old. That's how old I am now. My friends used to bitch about it all the time. I'm like, fuck you, we're in our 30s. It's not that bad. Like, you're not old. Oh, my back hurts. Like, well, then exercise, you dumbass. I'm not really the poster child for being able to tell people that, but still. I hate to admit it, too. I don't like talking about age on the internet because I'm a big man baby, and I look a lot younger than I actually am because I spend all my time in a basement away from solar radiation. The puppy is upstairs. She's not going to really come down and visit. She used to come down here all the time. She used to come downstairs all the time. I miss it. Yeah, the horrible sunrise. Chester Willard, 43-year anniversary for 43 months. Thank you for the 43 months, Chester. That's awesome. I don't know why you do that. Thank you, genuinely. Yeah, the puppy doesn't come downstairs anymore. I don't like that. But she ran too fast. She was too good at running while being extremely muscular. She's 38 pounds. Corgis are typically like 30. So I think we put 8 pounds of pure muscle on her. And yeah, she got kisses already today. I actually had her out in the deck, and she came back in, and then I used the bathroom, and then I went and looked at the front door. She's just on her side, just sleeping. So she's had a decent day so far. She'll get many walkies tonight. But I got to be careful because that tendon is still bothering her. She was hobbling a little bit, and she tends to sit down. She puts her corgi butt down, and then she pivots around her butt instead of using her back legs. You're getting old when you go from saying my knee hurts to saying my right knee is playing up again. No, with me, because I exploded my entire skeleton. Remember when that happened to me? Here, I've got actually, I think I have a video of that. There it is. There's the video of what happened to me with my skeleton. I ended up hitting one leg against the other at the top of a flight of stairs coming down here, and took a big fall. Woke up in the morning, just pain. But yeah, that was like, I think 10 or so fractures. And so when it's about to rain, I'm like, oh, my bones are acting up again. Exactly. Storms are coming. I can feel it in my knees. Big storms are coming. Storms are coming. But yeah, I can definitely feel when a storm is on its way. I see the resemblance. Yeah. I'm not old and I feel like shit. All right, this has to cool. I'm gonna let this cool for as long as I can tolerate. Usually I wait until the temperature of the hot end, until the temperature of the hot end reaches the same temperature as the bed. They cool at different rates, but that's a decent amount of time. And when we get there, the filament will have cooled and shrunk, and it'll pop itself off. Oh God, my cable's all caught. All right, coming back over here. Yeah, this is PETG, which is technically sterile plastic. It's the kind of plastic that they use in soda bottles, which everybody says you can print PETG cups and drink directly from them. And by the grace of the deity himself, they don't leak. It's really because surface tension on the liquid isn't forcing it out of the different layers of the 3D print. Because we have a PETG jacket around the laser. I sealed it. I managed to seal it. I didn't use UV epoxy at first. I used caulk. The pure power of my caulk helped keep all those fluids in. And when we actually ran the pump, there was too much pressure on the PETG and water started dribbling out of my caulk. So that was bad. And so we're rehashing this whole plan, and we are using UV epoxy, which I'm a little bit more impressed with after just experimenting with it. I thought it wouldn't be good. I thought it would peel off too easily. I mean, we'll see. This one's probably fully cured by now, so we can actually do a couple little tests on this and see if it's up to snuff. And then I need to paint or bathe or just use a little bit of like the syringe tip, just the tip, only for a minute. This little piece right here, you just kind of get it all wet and then activate it inside and then seal the outside and activate the outside. Giggles. I used to chew gum a lot. I think that's probably why I had that good jawline back when I, displayed one. Nobody will see it if I chew gum now. We lost our cool thing going on. I was 3D printing and now it's over. It's over. No more fun stuff running around. I haven't even gotten to the streams where we update the 3D printer. Those are going to be in the next couple hundred streams that I'm uploading. God, what electronic waste have I rendered onto the internet here with this VOD channel? It's like I'm plugging 4, 5, 6 hour videos. The average I think is 4.5 to 5. And who's watching the whole video? I feel bad. People like it though, so I'll keep doing it. Bum, 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 bum. I like this song. The people on YouTube will think that I just lost my mind because I'm bouncing around to music that doesn't exist. It's on Twitch, but it's only on Twitch if you're watching live. It's only 5 people who can hear the music or will ever hear it, but it's the FTL soundtrack if you're curious. That shit's on there. That's not going nowhere. I'll give it a minute. Give it a minute. What do the temperature curves look like? It's only one CD, one 100 layer CD. That's crazy technology. We're talking about that in the Discord. That it was some old PC Gamer article, and they can fit a petabyte onto an optical disc now. So I guess we're getting CDs again. CDs nuts. But yeah, we're getting CDs again, and hopefully they'll be burnable from the off the bat this time. But they have it's a 100 layer optical disc. We'll be back and we'll have my 1 petabyte love mix or whatever. Let's see. I used to burn CDs for girls. you would start burning and it would take 4 hours, and then at the end of it something would go wrong and it would trash your CD and you'd have to start over. You're like, I can't listen to Green Day anymore. Octoprint. I don't know, people said they'd be sad if I get a haircut, but it's starting to like hurt. My hair is not light. It's extremely soft. It holds its shape. It has all the advantages of good hair, except it is heavy, and it tends to get greasy. I'm a little greasy. That's one of my properties. So I think it's time for a haircut. Rub it in. I know it's listen. People get very jealous, but it's like, yeah. If I had a full head of hair, I would have boiled my brain by now, just with the insulative properties. Can I do a man bun? I think I can do a man bun. I think we're at man bun length. Here, move camera, get out of my way. Oh yeah, here we go. The height of fashion right there. That's the look. That's it right there. Can I do the computer programmer look? Actually, you need to upgrade your RAM. Not quite. I can't quite do that. I have chopsticks, but I don't think it would hold the hair. Oh God. Yeah, it doesn't really work. That doesn't really work. It doesn't work. It's nice to not have the hair in my eyes, but then it goes right back to its shape. An oddly complex shape, but still shape. Chopsticks are with a screwdriver. I have my weirs on me. Hair drops. Ow, I hit my glasses doing that. That hurt. Oh, now I have a big smudge on my glasses? Come on. That bit cost me dearly. Rub, rub, rub. Do. Let's get the other one. Wonderful noises here today on Oh Bother. Better than listening to Rabaz eat. Hairball. I actually have had hairballs. Not really hairballs, but I have choked on my dog's hair because she's kind of like, I don't know what it is. I think she's blowing her coat right now because we gave her a bath 2 days ago, and oh man, I combed a lot of hair out of that dog. I could have needle felted another corgi out of it. It takes her, it's like 4 hours to actually dry because of her undercoats. She has a very thick undercoat. And much like me, she has extremely soft hair. All right, where's the Windex? I'm getting bored. I want to start streaming. I want to start the stream. Oh, technically I haven't been putting stream starts up, but I guess this is the intro, so. What is that for an oscilloscope at Oh Bother's right leg? Yeah, that was sent in by a viewer, and we kind of have to repair it. That's a project that I have not gotten to, and that's, again, one of the reasons why my policy on sending stuff in is you can send stuff in here. You're allowed to do that, right? You have to negotiate with me over Discord and eventually get my address because I can't afford to get a P.O. box, even though they're not that expensive. But if you send something in, there's no express guarantee that I'm going to actually do anything with it. And I have to have that guarantee. Turned into Wario for a second there. I have to have that guarantee because, yeah, I can't be held accountable for stuff like that because I've gotten kind of unhinged stuff before. Let me get a paper towel on that. What happened? It was red and it went fast. Hey, I just twisted it and it twisted out of my hands and flew away. Bernedoodle dries very quick. Are those water dogs? I don't know. This corgi is not a water dog. She's so pathetic when we go to the bath too, because I'll put the water on warm and everything, but then she does her little like ears back pathetic look and starts whimpering, and then she just tries to leave. She just tries to leave. She goes, you don't really need me here anymore. I'm not really necessary for this bath, right? I'm just gonna go. I'm gonna go, and you do your thing, and we'll all just be better that way. And I'm like, no. She just very politely tries to leave. All right, Let me untangle my leg from the frickin' mic cord. Hey! Okay, there we go. I'm untangled now. Yoink. These are Christmas ornaments that are all Star Trek, all the Star Trek Hallmark ornaments. At some point we should work on those. We need to fix them because I guess we had a power surge and they all like melted and stuff. I'm wondering if I can resurrect any of them because they are very well sealed. German Shepherd's scared of the garden hose. I don't think we could ever give her a bath. You gotta, well, I don't know about German Shepherds, but the Corgi starts to smell and she gets butt nuggets. She gets too many butt nuggets and, you know, I'm sitting here freaking wiping my dog's ass like, the glamour of dog ownership. It's bad. It's real bad. She has a lot of hair. You know, we have to she's a fluffy Corgi, and fluffy Corgis have just a poof of hair, right? And so we have to comb her a lot, and then we have to make sure that we trim she's like her back legs, little corgi butt, simulated corgi butt. She gets like a skirt coming out of it like that. And so we have to like trim that flat for better or for worse. She's a very cute puppy though. It's worth it. It's worth wiping your dog's ass every now and then to have a cute little nubbin around. All right. So music, go. Very, very dignified talk here in the pre-stream about whether or not streaming is harder than an office job, and I'm sitting here talking about dog butts and getting paid to do it. So the answer, I mean, unequivocally and like demonstrably is just no, it's not harder than than an office job. And your office job might be going into the office and doing 3 lines of a spreadsheet and then nothing else for the rest of the day. I've been there, and that is harder than streaming. There is a certain amount of fatigue involved with streaming for long periods of time, but send for help. I hate my office job. But you don't have to sit there and tolerate anything when you're streaming. You can go, I'm going to take a day off. Like, it's a hell of a lot easier. Anyway, what are we working on? Well, we're working on the thing that's going to rescue my channel, basically. This is my Hail Mary for actually getting popular on Twitch. Not really my Hail Mary, because I'm not a one-trick pony. I don't have just one good idea, but this is my one good idea. Don't get me wrong. This is my one good idea that I've ever had. And it happened while I was sitting at this bench, just shooting the shit with my chat back in the early days when it was just me and a couple friends watching the channel. Me and a couple Discord buddies, people dating back to the Red Letter Media streams. And I was just shooting the shit about projects that I could do that were interactive and a little bit different, right? And this is back before like a lot of people had interactive stuff. We don't have a followage command, sorry. I probably should have put one early on. There would have been some truly shocking numbers on that, seeing as I've been streaming since 2016, I think it was. Yeah, it was around then. Anyway, so streaming for a long time, had the idea, said, hey, what if I make like because high wattage blue lasers are and were a thing, right? And I had one and I was burning stuff with it earlier than that. I think I found you in 2018. Yeah, I'd been going for a little while at that point. It was when did I partner? It was like 4 years ago at this point. Jeez. But a couple of those years don't really count. A couple of those years don't count. We're writing them off. 3-year follow-versary. Oh shit, dude. That's awesome. Thank you, Squama, for 3 years of followage. I really appreciate that. We don't have that command because it's just one of those little like dick swinging commands that I don't really like. This is we're doing a communism. You guys are all equals. So, burn the subs. Shooting the shit with my chat, talking, having a good time. I said, hey, that would be cool if I used like, I don't know, like a laser to burn the names of subscribers onto like a board or something. Made it happen twice. 2 boards, lots of names, got it all working, did it bit by bit, and got everything together and focused. You can buy one. You can buy one. You live in America. Yeah, I'm still in America. Yeah, I'm in America. I'm in Philadelphia, which is the seat of civilization in the known world. We invented it all. This is Philadelphia. So anyway, Canada. Goddamn, you're the one. You're barely in Canada. You're barely in Canada. I don't mean you're just across the border. I mean you're separate from the rest of Canada. Europe, Czech Republic, hell yeah. Yeah, we have a lot of international viewers. I think most of my international viewers are actually German, and then followed by everybody else. It's America, Germany, and then all the other countries I get metrics for. So it's pretty cool. I love reaching an international audience. I stream at a time when it's possibly a little harder to get viewers, especially with tech viewers. Usually the makers are watching in the evening when they get home from work, because they work. So a lot of, yeah, the land of Prusa, that's right. Yeah, Prusa is a legendary fucking company. They are awesome. Burn the Subs was a legend when I joined. It's coming back. We're working on it, but I'm not rushing. I'm taking the artist's approach on this one. I don't want to rush into something. So we've been taking our time, and I completely burnt myself out on doing this. The technology that we're bringing to the table now is my ability to print stuff to put together all of the parts. So we're working on Burn the Subs. This is a previous idea that I had in a moment of inspiration. It was literally just like one stray comment, and then I thought about it more after stream and put it all together over the next, like, I don't know, it was like 8 months to build the thing. But yeah, so I am working on Burn the Subs. What it is a laser etching table that is strapped to my wall. Bada bing, there it is. Look at that. And right now it is featuring a live edged board. What we need to do is we need to update the board, we need to get it all running, and I need to then map out where the edge of the board is, and we're gonna burn names on it, but this time all of the names are gonna be the same size. There's not gonna be any algorithm for changing the name size. The font for a screen name who's subscribing themselves to my stream will be a bubble font. For a name that is a gifted sub, it will be a single line or Hershey font. And I have both fonts already programmed into the board. We just need to do a little bit of code to separate out the two. We've been working with that for quite a while. It was chat's mission to break the board when I first arrived. That's sort of what the whole purpose of the board is, and that's kind of the joke. That's kind of the meta joke of the whole board, is that these names have been vetted. Can you please say a word in a foreign language? It means hello in America. No. I'm not saying random words because I don't know other languages except programming languages. I know a little bit of Latin too, but I'm sorry. I don't do stuff like that. I appreciate you very much, but yeah, no, I don't. So anyway, Burn the Subs, the whole exercise of Burn the Subs is that Burn the Subs is taking advantage of the fact that Twitch has vetted out all of the names, all the screen names on its platform. There are some truly unhinged screen names that haven't been vetted out, and they all got gift subs onto the board, and they get burnt onto this lovely piece of wood sitting behind me, this multi-hundred lovely piece of wood sitting, multi-$100 piece of wood sitting behind me that I got in a place out in Pennsylvania. And it's shocking what some of the names are. It's shocking. So anyway, like the manliest name of all, jizzing in Santa's beard. So you get to watch the apex of Twitch technology. When somebody subscribes, you can see the board work on the name and process it into code that's going to run itself, and then start to move that laser head over to the location. And when it moves it over there, it finally moves it there, and it starts burning, and you're like, wait, what is it burning? And it just says like butt fugly or something like that. That's what I love about Burn the Subs. We're working on upgrading it with the best stuff that I've got. So a glass case that my brother actually made in high school, a Vicor flat pack 24 volt power supply, which apparently is worth a couple $100, even though I bought it very cheaply on eBay. And then some leftover water cooling stuff up here. Why are you water cooling? Well, I don't know. Stuff generates heat. The Raspberry Pi generates heat. The motor controller generates heat. So I figure, why don't we put it through a loop, and I can put a fan on a radiator, and then we can keep everything super overcooled. And while we're at it, if I can generate enough pressure, I can get water all the way out to the laser. And that's what this is simulating here. This tube is approximately the length that it would take me to get out to the laser with water. Yes, it's an AlphaCool water block on a Raspberry Pi. AlphaCool makes these tiny little water blocks, and I used to use them on the motor controllers, but on this board, the motor controllers are this exposed piece of ground that has a lot of vias that go up to these chips, and these chips dump all of their heat into the ground plane right directly beneath it. And so what I did is I took a copper tube and I just soldered it straight onto that ground plane. So there's a copper tube down here that will cool the motor drivers. There is a water block that'll cool that. This is going to generate a little bit of heat, but there's also a fan behind it. And then the power supply is going to generate heat, but it should be good to air cool. I just put some copper tubes in it because we had an open screw hole. So, no, I'm not going to be making the laser, but the laser is a 1.4. Actually, it's I think a 2 watt now. The laser's gone up a little bit because you can't find 1.5 watt lasers, which makes it a little bit more dangerous for my Mark 1 eyeballs. But anyway, these 2 watt lasers generate quite a bit of heat, and I've got it in a smaller laser diode carrier. You can get big heat sinks that you put on these lasers, and it keeps them cool. I don't want a big heat sink on there. I want it to be a little bit more, I don't know, if I'm going to make an excuse, I'd say, you know, visually, I don't want a giant heat sink on there so that I can get the camera in there. But yeah, anyway, well, okay, so the laser safety is achieved by me not looking at the board when it's operating. That's sort of the safety factor here, because these things throw out a lot of ultraviolet. That's why they're able to burn things so well. I feel like you could make a rap with all the names. I've done that before, and I'm not creative and funny enough. It would be like the Pokemon rap. It'd be terrible. So yeah, anyway, this is a 2 watt laser. It's in a copper block over here that's been nickel plated. And then that goes on to sort of the backing, which is typically where you'd put the laser driver circuit. But instead, we're using this big old TTL laser driver board because it's a lot easier. It's fine. Don't worry about me. But anyway, this is sealed with Teflon, the seam right here. The front is sealed with Teflon just to make sure that we keep our focus in the right place. So what I want to do is I want to surround this with a jacketing. So we've been playing around with PETG, and I've been printing PETG. This is red, so it blows out the camera's image sensor. But playing with the PETG, I have been able to get a seal on the 3 elements of this, the area that the laser's interfacing with, and the inlet and the outlet for the water. And we got that sealed with ultraviolet epoxy. Actually, previously I'd used my caulk, but anyway, so I gunk blasted the top of this thing, and then we gunk blasted the interior by actually filling a syringe with ultraviolet epoxy, and I blasted that stuff inside of the actual body of this thing. This is something that we designed, by the way, in Fusion 360, so it looks like this on the computer. It looks perfectly cromulent on the computer, but it's not quite great IRL, and we got to make it work. But there's a little gap in there between the body of the laser diode carrier and the outside. So anyway, the point is, if I get this to seal properly, if I get this right here, this piece that goes up that way to seal, water comes in, goes across the laser diode body, and then goes out. Theoretically, that should cool the laser, right? Well, it didn't. We got it working, you know, insert clip of yesterday here, where we got it working, but once it actually got hot, no heat was coming out of the other side of the tube, which is not necessarily like damning, but water was going in. We definitely had water coming out the other side. I was able to unplug each line and see that one was feeding water and the other had a return of water. Nothing was leaking, but there was no heat interface going on. And you would expect it to cool it a little bit. We turned off the laser at one point and had water just running through it, and it was still just sitting there insulated and hot. It was very strange. So there's a couple reasons why I think that could probably, why I think that occurred. What is so hot over here? Is it just the calipers reflecting? Yeah, they're just reflecting heat. Oh, the thermals will actually be useful today. So one of my theories is that, where's the one that's glued? There it is. Water wasn't getting completely around the laser. Now there was what we did is we injected UV epoxy into this thing, and then we solidified it. And I think what happened was it did a good job coating everything, and it did actually seal everything. It's just that not a lot of water. I think there was like a bubble of material that blocked. There's like a surface tension thing like over here that was blocking flow from going across the laser. In addition to that, it seems like maybe there wasn't enough of a seal on this part right here, the one that goes between the 2 lines. And then also we had a thin coat of epoxy on the metal, and maybe it wasn't able to transfer as much heat. So I need to figure out a way to get this thing sealed internally. I've printed out 4 of these things we can use to test today, and I don't know if did this completely harden? No, it's still liquid. Hey, that's a lucky thing. Oh, you guys are totally out of focus. It's like you've sustained a head injury. So I think the first step is going to be to very carefully coat the inside. Second step, maybe I can involve a paintbrush of some kind. Third step, maybe we can try dipping it in some fashion in order to just get that inside jacket completely sealed. So let me get a paper towel over here because this is gonna get messy. Everybody's concerned about the laser safety, but I've had multiple boards running in here for multiple years, as the sort of claim to fame of this shop is the board. And I've been running them, and I don't have any non-diabetic eye problems. Hey, come here, Swede. But I wasn't wearing glasses. Yeah, when I forget about focusing the camera, it's bad. It's kind of a bad scene. How much of that did you see? Fusion always insists on opening full screened, and when you go into windowed, it does it full screen. It's like, who is programming this stuff? They're just messing it up. They're not getting the basic tenets of like program running stuff. I know you think very highly of your CAD program, but sometimes I like it to start with the same Windows settings that I had before. Yeah, Confusion 360 is right. They want your undivided attention. Does water directly contact the laser's metal housing? Or is the heat being conducted to the fluid through a layer of PETG? Not through a layer of PETG, no. The UV glue is what, because I filled the body of the chamber with UV glue and then drained it, and I probably should have put compressed air through it too, because I don't think we got all of it back. But when we poked into this thing, there was a layer of acrylic that was in. Do we have a? Let's do a split view of this. So let's go to utilities, and we'll go to inspect, and then we'll do a section analysis, and we're going to do that on this cut plane here. That was the wrong one. Well, I guess I could use that one. Yeah, so I think we had a layer of UV glue that was surrounding the metal, and we shouldn't have that. If I take this and I coat the inside, and I'll have to make sure that I coat the inside properly, coat the inside and then harden it, then put the laser in, then put the, well, I'll have to do like a bead of UV epoxy on the sort of centerpiece here, the wishbone, and then I'll put the laser in, and then I'll seal the outside. Because UV glue gives us a lot of wiggle room with this kind of stuff, because we can choose when to harden it by using ultraviolet light. We can also find all the stains everywhere in the shop. I shouldn't turn this on right now. This is actually a pretty powerful ultraviolet light. I got it from, I think it was Amazon, and it wasn't cheap, but you have to double tap this in order to turn it on. But it is pure ultraviolet because it's got a filter on the front. The ultraviolet LEDs, while they do activate the glue just fine, but they put out a lot of purple light as well. This filter makes sure that you're only putting out ultraviolet. To what advantage, I don't know. I just wanted a new toy. Stains, yeah. You can see every part of the shop that's had some weird liquid hit it. Don't know what liquid, not gonna say. Should I just like gunk blast it? I think I probably should. Just try to get like a thin coating on the whole thing. Probably will need to like pull the material around in order to get it to just do a very thin coating of ultraviolet epoxy. How am I gonna let you guys see what I'm doing? Ah, jeez. Camera arm is all kinds of weird. We'll do it like this. And how focused are you guys? Not very. Okay, so try to show all the stuff that we're working with. Make an interesting looking background. All right. So yeah, I'm just gonna pull this stuff around and hopefully get a good coating going on there. Make sure the whole inside is moist. The moistest. But not too moist. Just moist enough. This is probably where a paintbrush would be a little bit more of an advantage. Sidewalls are easy to do. It's just the various little pockets of space that this thing has. Because if I mess up, it's going to leak into the body of the backing here, because we saw that fill up with the last one. Just a little bit of pressure on the plunger, pushes out just enough stuff. Dripping a little bit, which is fine. So I want to make sure that front face is pretty clear of material. It's essentially dipping it, but with more steps. Got that drip. Oh, I'm out of stuff. Syringe is empty. Used it all. Let me make sure this stuff goes downwards. We get to choose when it activates too, which is pretty nice. The camera. I don't know what I'm saying this stream. I'm very unhinged. Apparently, there's a lot of TOS violation going on over in the South Korean Twitch because they're shutting down due to attacks. A lot of crazy stuff going on over there. I saw one streamer's sign off, one VTuber's sign off was to actually get into a toilet and have it flush, and they like spun as they went down. So there's a lot of crazy stuff going on. All right, so that's clean-ish. I mean, even doing the outside, just rubbing it with the stuff and then hitting it with the paper towel in order to make sure the glue fills the seams would probably also be effective, actually. What is that looking like down there? I just want to make sure that everything is coated in a thin layer, not a thick layer. And I think we've achieved thick layer right now. There's a lot of glue in there. You guys probably can't see it because the camera is being crazy with the colors. Maybe I'll focus in a little closer and you guys can maybe see that it is in fact coated. Yeah, here, see all the coating in there? I don't know, is that a gap or is that a reflection? I think that's a reflection. It's looking pretty gunked up. Might thin if it's heated. I don't think I have the provisions in order to do that. I could wipe it with the paper towel or pretty much anything. I could get one of those Q-tips in here and wipe it off, and then what would be left is what's in the seams. But this is a pretty thick layer. I'm happy with a thick layer. I have a sickness for the thickness. Just bump these out. Oh, are this filling up because I tilted it? Maybe we need to run that out a little bit. And the syringe is still good. I can actually, if I keep it out of the UV, it's still good. I'll put it way over here, under something. Yeah, actually the excess is still running out of the front. So I need to get it to actually drip this all out. You know it, drip out. Come on. I don't want it to block water flow, you know? All right, so I'm gonna use the tapered ream to open those up again when we're, once we actually do this. Actually, I could put the tubes through now. That would keep them a little bit more sealed. Well, I don't want to risk the surface tension blocking stuff, so we'll just do it as it is. And there's a little bit of a pooling effect going on inside there. But let's activate all this stuff. Let's get rolling with this. The UV epoxy was perfect for stream, and I got to use it for more stuff while streaming because it seals very quickly. It does its job right away. Hey, Kagus, how's it going? All right, so let's get some UV light on this. This is going to totally blast my eyes out, so I'm actually not going to look at it. I am going to look at the monitor when I do this. So 1, 2, let's get to my loo. There's all that UV, and I expose it, and we get an exothermic reaction from the ultraviolet epoxy. It's the same stuff that they use when you get your nails did. And this exothermic reaction is the glue being activated by the high frequency ultraviolet hits the whatever the chemical bonds are and blows them up or something, and then the glue is activated from there, and it hardens up, and it makes a very clean, very clear blobo of epoxy. And it's actually, UV epoxy is extremely useful if you're doing production repairs on boards, on PCBs, because you can drop down your little attachment wire and then glue it down with a little UV epoxy, and it almost looks factory. So we're going to give that a little bit to solidify. That top piece is not looking that hot. Let's see if I can hit it with a bit more. I don't want a freaking sunburn off of this stuff, though. I do not want a sunburn. I could probably, I could coat the outside and it would make everything nice and shiny and clear. Yeah, not hot enough to mess with the PETG, but hot enough to show up on the thermals. Basically, it's getting warm, very warm, terminally warm. Okay, so next step, the two inlets, the inlet and outlet rather, two inlets. What are we talking about here? Is that just gonna go in? Before they were a little loose, so no, it's not going to just press in. I need to use the tapered ream. The tapered ream is quite a useful tool, and everybody should have one. It's also called a repair ream. I can just do a once with that. Just do a one little swoopty with it. Make sure there's no pieces left inside, and then that'll open those up just a little bit, and I should be able to get them to press fit in. Needs more. Needs more. Yeah, jeez. I overdid it with the other ones, and only the epoxy was holding those pieces in, which may end up happening here if I overdo it with a repair ream. It's a little too effective, is what I'm saying. Where'd they go? There they go. I hope this will last. That was my biggest concern with using, yeah, I probably could have used the vise to press that in instead of hand pressing, because now it's super loose. It moves very easily in and out. But the glue will hopefully make up for that. And also having extras hopefully means that I will not run into any problems. That one is super loose. Yeah, I gotta be careful about that. I probably should use the vise next time to press them in. That way there will be a very strong press fit. Yeah, just a little swoopity hoopity. No, nothing too big. I don't want to break anything though with the amount of pressure that I'm putting in. We need to get more UV epoxy into the syringe, but luckily I've set that up to be a very easy process. We come back here a little bit. Go to the. I had to put this in a plastic bag because after last stream the shop stunk. We had the stank of glue all over shop. It smelled like plastic. Horrible. So I have that sized up exactly to lure lock, and I can just tilt it like this, and then withdrawal, glue. That's how we're keeping it nice and contained. Probably not going to need this much. We'll just go to there. You can always get more. Because once it goes in the syringe, it's got a time limit based on how much UV I allow to get in. Put it back in the bag. Yeah. All right, so let's see. Before I do this, I should do a bead of glue across the separator, but I need to make sure that this fits in first. So currently it does not, so I need to widen this a little bit. So I'm just going to hit it with the repair ream a little bit. This is basically just shaving back the glue. Okay, that one fits. What about this one? Okay, so that fits in loosely. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to hit the separator with a bead and then put this in there. From behind? Let's go from behind, yeah. That'll be fun. Nice big thick bead. Make sure that distributes, and then in this thing goes without twisting it. And then from there, I'm going to seal it with more UV epoxy. Now these should stick out a little bit. What happened to that? I must have bumped them. Okay, so now we just seal the top and the bottom. For that, we just run a bead across all of the mating surfaces. Hopefully we can get some UV into the body of this thing in order to seal the separator. The syringe is a very controlled method of distribution. And I want to do all the gluing at once because I don't want to expose the syringe to UV. I don't want it to go off and harden. So I need to get the syringe well out of the way in order to run the UV. So I'll do all the gluing, and then I'll put the syringe somewhere else. Whoa, a little bit much. It does a really good job. I'm actually kind of impressed. Okay, syringe goes away, and then the light comes in here. Activate, activate, activate. Make sure nothing moves before I activate. When we did this before, we got glue all over the place, so it was it actually sealed itself, and I couldn't adjust focus of the laser. Oh, I spilled a little glue over here. Hold on. And I got glue all over my hands too, which is not fun. I don't like the feel of this stuff on your hands. On my hands. What up, Niwan? Why are you shaking? Am I shaking or was I moving? I don't know. The camera shakes a little bit. Maybe you're shaking. It's not me. Where's my focus? There we go. Actually, very steady hands. I've been complimented multiple times on how steady my hands are. Have you had a lot of issues with 3D prints leaking? No, just this one. I mean, it's this exact design just leaking over and over again. I think the big problem is that, well, first of all, staggered layers might actually do something to seal this, but we don't have staggered layers, and PETG is very, very, very strong, but it has little tiny gaps between the layers. And so when I run water into this thing, there's a little bit of pressure behind it. And that little bit of pressure was making water leak from the interstitial layers of the print. So I'm trying ultraviolet epoxy in order to provide an actual like jacket inside of this thing that will seal it. Oh, I need to add more light to the side to try to get this stuff, the stuff that's on the spine of this, to keep them separated and everything. Why was that activating super hard? It's like there's a huge piece right there that's super activated. Yeah, everybody warned me about the fact that it would leak, and as per usual, because I'm actually trying to make content, I ignored them. And so we got to the point where I finally got the thing to seal with caulk, and the whatchamacallit, we were able to see the layers actually leaking. We were able to see the water being forced out of the 3D print layers. Now, if you do something like print a cup, there's not enough pressure on the water in the cup for it to leak out of the cup. So pretty good. Feels like plastic. I hope that the stuff inside here actually solidified, because otherwise water will come in and want to just go in the short loop, and it won't actually cool. We're supposed to get water to fill, go around the laser, and then come back out. And then I punch chat. That is also my concern. My concern with it was heating and cooling cycles. If the ultraviolet epoxy expands differently than the PETG, which more than likely it does, what's going to happen when things start to separate? But, I mean, I'll have a leak on my wall. But it might actually be okay. It might be okay. I'm not sure. All right, well, we're going to give it a minute, and then we'll see. Maybe I'll give it a little bit more UV, and then we'll see what comes of this, whether or not it works. If I get this on the first try today, this is going to be the biggest letdown. This is going to be the worst. It's just like, well, it works. Bye. Thanks for watching. First try. Here, let me, I'm going to shore up the camera and just give this thing a minute to really like dry, because I can still see there's still a lot of heat in there coming from this thing. Give it another exposure of UV, this time without my hand in the way so that I don't get a sunburn. I don't know if this thing will cause a sunburn or not. I don't know exactly how powerful this thing is. I don't trust it. But it'll be so cool if I can get my, whatever it is, my 3D printed part to actually be a water jacket and then hold liquid so that it doesn't leak all over the place. Okay, that should be good. Yeah, it kind of feels weird. I think it's because of the UV epoxy gets on my hands. I think that's why that light feels hotter than it is. My fingertips are hot as hell right now. Look at that. So theoretically, we have nickel that's exposed to water, and that will get hot and then get cooled by the water flowing on it. Yeah, exactly. I did. Yes, this is the results. These are the results from last time. This is the one that we saw the interstitial layers leaking from. We actually, I don't know. I don't have the clip available at the moment. It's probably somewhere findable. But what happened is I used caulk, and caulk would last a lot longer. Mine would anyway, if treated properly. Why does my mind have to do things like that? Why does it have to pivot on the sex? Anyway, so this thing I sealed, and we got water to go through it, but at the pressure of the water, it leaked on the interstitial layers. It took a long time for me to get that stuff to seal properly, because it like what is it? Fire hose of water would shoot out from the seal on that. But once we got that shored up, it leaked. And so we tried it last time with UV epoxy, and I did it by filling the body of this thing with a syringe full of UV epoxy. You said it yourself, you're 12. It's true. Can't deny it. My inner 12-year-old is absolutely tickled pink about this stream. So I filled it with a syringe, and then I drained it with a syringe, and that, I think, caused some stuff to get in the way so that water wouldn't flow all the way around, right? Use it or lose it. Does that work with sex stuff? But it made a perfect seal. Water would flow through, but the laser diode carrier held on to a lot of heat. We were able to still run water through it when this was off, and it wasn't cooling down at all. That was the end of yesterday. So now what I'm doing is I'm separately sealing. I'm sealing the body of the 3D print first, then fitting in the accoutrements, the laser pointer and the two tube fittings, and then sealing that with another layer of epoxy, because it worked. It held its water. It just didn't cool the laser. That's what we're trying today. And because of the wonders of UV epoxy, this thing is already set and it's ready to go right now. I was just letting it cool off a little bit after the exothermic reaction took its course. So let me get the power supply and turn that on and turn that to 12 volts. Oh wait, this is a 52 amp. I forget how many volts the power supply can get up to, but it is a very high current power supply. Oh, burn the subs doesn't have to be. I've been wasting energy. Hold on. Sorry, not burn the subs. The fart machine we got to repair. That's on the chopping block next. Fart machine is the next thing that I work on, because that'll benefit this project. Okay, so we get 12 volts out of here. Boop. Okay, so that's active and live. Now we need to get water into this thing and observe any leaks that it might have. Let me get the electronics away just briefly while we do that. This board is tuned. We've already tuned this one, and we did it by putting a bunch of diodes in line, a bunch of 1N4, 146s in line in order to simulate the voltage drop of the laser diode, and then we measured current going into it. And we need to retune it for the for the 2-watt laser. But we'll do that some other time. Right now it's just set to 1.4 watts out of a diode, which is a certain amount of current. So actually, it might be tuned for this one anyway. They probably have similar specs. It's just the amount of volts that thing puts out is variable. Yeah, I think actually we don't need to retune it. I think it is already tuned for a laser diode. And I gave myself a little bit of room on the forceps in order to plug stuff in. At the pressures we're seeing, we don't need to use hose clamps. The thick silicon rubber hose, this stuff that kind of resists collapsing on a bend, this stuff is putting enough pressure on the hose fittings that it's not leaking all over the place. Sorry, I'm talking a little bit fast. I need to talk slower on stream. I need to slow down my babble, because I babble, because I am an ADHD sufferer who likes what they're doing. And so I have to explain myself 1,000 times at 1,000 times per second. Yeah, you get the idea in your head. You want to communicate it as fast as possible, and it ends up people are like, whoa, okay. I get that a lot. I need to slow down. Anyway, so we've sealed this entire thing. I have it running on just water pressure right now. We need to activate. I should probably make like a multi-header thing that I can use on this, but we've just been twisting the leads together. So I need to twist the leads together and activate the pump and take a look at whether or not we get any leaks. That's our first thing. So let's activate the pump. The pump. Bonk. There's an air bubble in this thing still. Okay, presumably water is flowing all the way through this. That's a electric noise factory or something. Pump up the jams, pump it up. No water on the outside. Water pumping through. No. Okay, exhibit A. Oh, we're not plugged in. Oh, right, okay. We gotta plug into the rest of the system. I've unplugged the water. There are too many factors in this thing that can fail. Oh, okay. There we go. Those seal on both sides when you unplug them, so they put up a little bit of resistance. Now, theoretically, I should be seeing the bubbles flow out, but they're not moving. Those are kind of moving a little bit. So if I unplug this, water should flow out of the body. Yep, well, okay. What about this one? Yep, okay. Wait, but it stops when I plug them in? Hello? Hello? Is there such a flow restriction from this thing? There shouldn't be. I left plenty of room. Would, no, epoxy should not have dripped and sealed. Would my fittings maybe not be flowing properly? Because the only time I saw those bubbles move is when I unplugged. The only flow meter that I have is on the main return. That's the only one that I have. I mean, I could put this guy in there, but that thing doesn't really spin. Hold up. We know that flow gets to this area. It's just, is the body of this thing too restrictive? Do we need to redesign it a little bit? Which is totally plausible. Because if this thing puts up too much resistance, I guess flow will prefer the other paths. And I can restrict the other paths. I don't want to have to do that. The reservoir is open at the top, so it's not an airlock. Shortening the pipes is not an option. This sits where it sits. All right, so this one's the source, and this one's the return. Oh no, that one's also, what the? Why is that flowing out in both directions? God, my dog's barking at stuff. She's having the time of her life barking at things. Well, one of them is definitely a send and the other has to be a return, but they both leaked. So do I need to pinch off some of the other tubes? Maybe that's the problem we had yesterday. If it's just a flow issue, then I need to expand the body of this thing and then repeat this process with it. What a silly problem. It's good that we're seeing it, though. AC water current. That's true. The electrons aren't flowing. They're wiggling. Because, yeah, I don't see any flow through the bubbles here. The boobills. I thought this wouldn't be restrictive at all, though. Maybe if I bounce power to it. Let's bounce power to it. There, turn it off. Turn it back on. It's these bubbles that I want to see moving. And they just ain't moving until I unplug this. Well, then nothing is exiting. And if I do this one, wow, interesting. Okay. Okay, this is the return. Nothing's coming out of it at all. Yeah, I would have to make. Well, actually, I think I can loop the pipes. Yeah, hold on. Let's do that. Loop the pipes. Well, I have tubes that I can loop the pipe with. Let me find the fitting. Where did that go? I think it's over. Yeah, it's over here. Okay, hold on. I just gotta go grab it. That is a very heavy box. I gotta watch that one doesn't fall and make an incredible crashing noise. All right, let's see. So there's all the laser stuff. With the laser stuff, is there one more of these little fittings? No. Let's go to this one. I don't want to plug it into those other tube things because they hold on to the tube and they don't let it go. I have to cut the silicon away in order to remove it from that little flow meter. There we go. So can we find a little fitting in here? It could be that some UV epoxy got in front of those tubes, but I put them in dry and then I glued around them. So I was very careful about that. Can I put these together somehow? These lure locks? No. I don't have like a thing-to-thing lure lock. I could force the lure lock over the two ends. Maybe that would be a way to do it. Oh, you know what? I could just do this. Lure lock this together. Probably should have used lure locks from the get-go on this thing. I think that would be too much effort to try to get a wire to pass through. At a certain point, I could just redesign it to be thicker. I thought I cut you off. I'm losing water. Theoretically, that shouldn't leak, although it's very close to leaking. Okay, all the bubbles are moving instantly, so yeah, there's definitely some kind of a blockage or restriction in place here. All the bubbles just moved. Whew. Computational flow analysis. Let me get the big, let me spend $5,000 on a piece of software and figure out whether or not this thing is leaking. Oh, the reservoir is closed, so let me open it up. And I need to put more water in there anyway because we're leaking. It hissed at me because there was a bit of a vacuum. That's not really going to pour that well. I need to get the bottle, the filler bottle. Filler bottle, go. So there's two results here. You guys see me? Oh, no, here we go. Either something is blocking that I can move, or I need to make it bigger. Because the added thickness of the UV epoxy may be too restrictive. So I'm going to try a wire. I'll try poking it, and then I can try redesigning it. Bother leaks. What salacious crap is being... Whatever it is, I didn't do it. Even if you have a picture of me doing it. Wasn't me. Now I'm shaking because I'm putting pressure into the bottle. I don't know why that person thought I was shaking. Why are you shaking? This thing is like a real big restriction on it. It's a good little filler bottle, though. I'm glad I got it. I've needed one of these for a while. Because I don't need to bring a funnel wherever I do stuff. There we go. Come on. There it is. Okay, so that system is running. Water is getting all the way over to this little lure lock. I keep the mic cable like 1,000 yards from the stool, and yet it catches once and rips itself out. It's not fair. I need to hang it off of the lighting stand. If I hang the cable off the lighting stand, then it stays off the floor, and I can move around without getting it caught in the stool. Now, it sounds back, sounds back. I know my production. So why isn't water getting through you? Well, let's do a quick test. I'm not going wireless. I will not, because I will end up taking you guys with me to the bathroom. No, wireless mic is a very bad idea. You guys don't know what you're talking about. You will hear me piss, and you will not have fun. All right, quick test. Okay, that's a result. So did the stuff that I put in the middle leak over top of one of these fittings? So let's just hit it with like a pin tool and then maybe a drill bit. Just tell Chad it's a water cooling, yeah. No, it's, what is it? Guys, this may have been sealed from before. Well, that might have been some of the problems we were running into before. Let me see if I can gunk blast. Oh, they're probably both in bad shape. I'm trying to make sure that I don't have like there's a little plug of material inside of this. I'm trying to make sure it comes out the right end, but it might be harder than it seems. I think these were plugged from before. Maybe that's why the other one failed too. Yeah, that would make sense. That's why the other one looked like it was full, but it wasn't actually cooling anything, because there wasn't any water flowing through it. That's what it was. That explains it. Oh, man, we finally... Oh, that's nice to have a nice little conclusion there. So what happened was UV stuff got into these tubes. I'm actually going to run a drill bit through there, because that'll be a better fit. Gunk got into the tubes so that when I... Yeah, I pushed the glue through the syringe, but it sealed it. And that's why when I unplugged the tubes, it looked like it was actually flowing, but it wasn't actually flowing water. And also why it held on to the heat so well, because nothing was going through. Haha, results. We're doing a science today. I'm looking for a drill bit. It's not the most glamorous thing in the world. You guys can look at my back for a minute. I gotta find just the right size of this tube. I think it's like 4 millimeter. No, it's like 2 millimeter. If I can find a drill bit, then I can make sure that it's fully open. Oh, it's pretty close. I don't know if that'll actually go all the way through. Yeah, it will. Okay, cool. So I'll probably actually use the drill. More fiber. Hey, if I pushed the syringe hard enough, it might have blown out all that stuff. Just like my O-ring. All right, let me get tool, drill. So yeah, it was blocked the whole time. That's why we had the results we had. It's good to know. It's good to have actual, like, theory play out. I gotta be careful not to unplug this end or else I'm gonna be very unhappy. Definitely tuning. They're speed holes. Well, what I really should do is make, if I had a lathe, and I don't have room for one, I don't have terribly many uses for one, but if I really wanted to be crazy, I would make the laser diode carrier out of copper and nickel plated, of course, which is very easy to do. But what I would do is put veins, put seams, little heat sink veins on the actual laser diode piece. Okay, so now we confirm that water flows through it. I was going to, but it ran into stuff, and I thought I'd need more pressure than that. There it is. Okay, and I can see the water inside of the 3D print moving too. So, now that I've got this greasy paper towel on my desk, and I've got everybody loaded up, I can put this in the vise and start prepping the test. Wet paper towel, ass MF. Get this out of the way. Oh, man, I've been being pushed to the side by my whole setup here. I'm gonna move myself to the right a little bit there. Okay, so water flows through. I need to cut flow. I'm going to turn this off and unplug these two. Just keep me from getting water everywhere. Not a drop to drink. Plug this in. Plug this in. We can confirm that water will flow through it. Oops, that water will flow through it. And just make sure it doesn't leak. Water is flowing. Did bubbles come out? Did we see bubbles come out? I don't know if we did. Where's my pen light? I don't see any bubbles in there. So you're water cooling a small diode laser with a 3D printed cooling jacket. You are correct, sir. That is exactly what I'm doing. And what we've done is we've used UV epoxy in order to seal the inside of the print to make an inner jacket. The nickel laser diode body is being exposed to the liquid directly. And then I sealed the outsides with more UV epoxy. So I'm just going to see if water leaks out of this one. It does not. There's no water flowing. Oh, because I didn't plug them back in. Okay, let me plug them back in. Don't tell me what the backseat friggin' jerks. Yeah, there we go. Bubbles flowing out. Bubbles flowing out. Confirmed for flow. We just double check it by spilling it on the desk here. Yep, that's flowing. That's coming out of the body. Ugh, I hope I didn't shoot water in there. Causing copper to oxidize a little bit. All right. Bluetooth hose piece? What? Add a flow meter to the pipe. We've got an overall flow meter, but one down there probably would be good, but it's not really necessary. So now we've confirmed what happened last time, actually. We confirmed that water was not flowing because I accidentally sealed these ends with UV epoxy. So I drilled it out, which is actually the smarter thing to do because it pulls the UV epoxy this way. We won't have like a plug sitting inside of here because it breaks it up and pulls it outwards. Hopefully that occurred. I mean, I do see a little piece of it here. There might still be some left inside of the thing, and I'm a little concerned that that's going to cause like plaque. It's gonna my water cooling system's gonna have a stroke. But okay, You get a little blood clot running around up there. But we know that water is now flowing and it is hitting the metal of the diode here. So now we can actually do an extended firing test and see whether or not we can heat up this water with the laser. How cool is that? Wait a minute. There's a little bit of moisture on the outside. Let me just double check. We got to make sure that we don't get moisture outside of the body of this thing. Oh no, that's not moisture. That's just a, or is it? Hold on. We're looking for leaks. I think that's just UV epoxy that's hardened. Because we finally actually have water flow into this thing. It's just that bubble right there I'm worried about. I think it just feels wet because it's cold. I don't think we're leaking. I managed to seal that just by squirting epoxy out. I feel like I probably could have wiped out the inside too in order to reduce the amount, but so far it looks pretty good. No, well, the 3D print isn't cooling anything. The inside is smooth. That's the part that's going to get warm. So the question is this going to cool the laser properly? We saw it not cool the laser properly. That moisture back there is just because of the me unplugging the hose. The UV epoxy did really well for sealing. The caulk, my caulk, had like little bubbles and spaces in it, whereas the UV epoxy flowed out and made a nice solid coating of epoxy. So that did a really good job. Brushing the outside of this also with epoxy probably would have rendered it much more shiny than it is right now. But okay, all right, it's looking good. Let me get the electric drill out of here before I waterlog all of my stuff. The forceps need to stay. The forceps are one of the best things you can have for water cooling. If you're going to be doing water cooling projects that use tube, absolutely treat yourself to a set of forceps because they will pinch tubes hard and keep them from leaking. Electric drill goes on the other table. And then we get the power supply for the laser. Put this to the side too. Put that over here. Forceps where I can reach them. Drill bit back over here. I want to keep kind of a clean desk for water projects because they tend to get kind of messy. Oh yeah, definitely not have my calipers anywhere near this stuff. The Mitutoyo calipers can take quite a beating, but I don't want to put them to the test. Okay, so let's get power to everybody now. This is all 12 volts. All this stuff is going to be powered off the 12-volt power supply, and that's a test for another day, is to see what the 12-volt power supply can tolerate. Because I don't think the printer board will make its own 12 volts. Splash test Stream Deck. Everything is vulnerable. Glasses. I'm not putting on glasses for this because I'm going into a laser target. I know it's not the smartest thing in the world, but I have laser glasses. I just don't. Where are they? They're over there. Yeah, I'm looking at them right now. I'm not going to put them on though. It's fine. I will just be cautious about where I'm sending the laser. All right. Confirmed for pump on. Nobody shorted out. We had that problem yesterday where the wires actually shorted. Those wires are getting warm too. The pump generates a little bit of heat and it'll dump it into the water system. Look at, wow, that's actually pretty warm. Yeah, it's kind of toasty up there. Whirligig is whirligigging. And then this, make sure it's aiming at that band and not anything brightly colored. Otherwise it will fluoresce and become extremely bright. And now, oh, well, we got to plug it into the laser socket. Laser into laser, ding. And we'll do a stress test. Well, assuming things are going well, we'll do a couple, but bam. Look at her go. So as the body heats up, it should be showing a little bit of heat, but we should be seeing heat leaving the water system is getting warm. Oh my goodness, that's awesome. Definitely not getting as hot as it was. Yes, yes, good. I can't, this thing is so tall, I can't show it all at once. I'm not running the fan either. So I could potentially run the fan. Ah, get the freaking arm. Sorry, I keep having to force the arm to bend. I know, it's like I'm not gonna end up doing that, but it's not even that hot. Look at how much hotter my hands are than this thing. That's getting a little bit warm. We'll see where that goes if this ends up being the weak link. But it doesn't feel hot. It just feels slightly warm. Yeah, it's only slightly warm. I could burn my finger if it accidentally drops into the beam. And of course, I'm getting ultraviolet on me. Probably aim that somewhere else. Maybe I can do like this. No, I need to have it lean all the way up here. But like that would redirect the light a little bit better. How much power is the supply giving? 1.77 amps. You saw a little bit of smoke that came off of that. That was something that was on the heatsink that it hit up against. I'm trying to keep the UV off of my body. I don't want to get a suntan from my freaking laser. Hey, this is great. This is working. The laser is perfectly cool. Yeah, well, it'll be controlled by the Raspberry Pi. So while the system is active, I think it should always, the pump should always be running. Whether or not it's at high speed like it is right now will be up to debate. I could probably slow it down quite a bit, and then when a name burns, have it go up to 100%. Because I don't know how much that power supply is going to contribute to the heat too. We've got many more elements than just this laser contributing to the heat of the system. Which, you know, we've got a big reservoir, so heat soak should be hard to achieve. And then I don't even have the fan on right now. Lasers are very cool, indeed, indeed. I don't have anything to burn at the moment. Hands feel like they've been exposed to the sun. I don't know if that UV light is doing me a disservice. I mean, a piece of wood. What do I have? I have targets all over the place. Let me get a target from back here. This is an original board target when we were in the testing phase. I can't believe this worked first try. Who's on here? Mr. Gunny. The Davian. Man, these are some old names. Like RE from a long, long time ago. This is originally when I was testing the first version of the board. There's Vantner. Mentos WD. So if I put the board in the path here, at a certain point it burns, but only when it focuses in, because this is not focused at the moment. If I go way back here, the beam spreads out, and that's actually where I should probably be, because it's much weaker when it's spread out. And just redirect the light over there. Oh, there was here. The mark that we made is barely visible. Yeah, we did that side. Yeah, it's just a little tiny goober. But when we do the motions for the board systems, we'll have to getting everything level and making sure that it burns throughout the entire board is also going to be a thing. Right now, we're testing heat soak. I'll see what happens when I get like tons of names on the board and this thing is allowed to really kind of heat up the water. And it seems like it's doing a great job. The laser's still at full power after this long. It hasn't overheated and saturated. Now this I would be concerned with next. That's kind of warm to the touch. Yeah, it's only warm. It's not hot. It seems like it's dumping all its heat into the ground plane very nicely. So I don't think I need to do anything for cooling that. What was that? Just felt something weird. Okay, what's going on up here? Heat is just dissipating due to ambient. Actually, no, the ambient air movement is probably not doing anything. Right now, it's just heat is being dumped into the water still. The water is just taking it in until it starts radiating out. Is the board a constant current supply? Yeah, that's exactly what this is. It's a TTL controlled constant current supply that's able to have enough amps to move this. FDM prints aren't well known to be exactly watertight. Yeah, so doing the epoxy treatment for the whole part would also probably benefit regarding that. Yeah, I feel like doing like even a vacuum chamber with the epoxy or something like that. Yeah, the PCB is going to be in open air, as is the design. Here's the design. Get the analysis view off. So it just holds it out in space. So that should be able to cool quite nicely. I didn't do a lot to make the laser head look super duper awesome. It's got enough reach and, you know, enough stuff that I just kind of had fun making a fancy little cart. I probably could have made this a lot smaller, to be honest. I could have made this a lot smaller, but that's the design. This is just what I came up with. I don't really want to reinvent it. I mean, the system is definitely soaking up the heat. You can see where the water lines are, where that heat's coming from. But yeah, it's dissipating out that heat to the ground plane, so the whole board eventually becomes heated. The question is it dissipating enough heat for this thing to run continuously? As I poke it with my fingers, I've got a little capacitance, and that's causing the laser power to fluctuate. I mean, it is going to get hot, but it is sitting in open air, and it's doing okay. I'm not going to do anything for like putting a heat sink on it, I don't think. Because this, right now, we are well over the amount of time that this thing would have had to run. I mean, yeah, the next step is to let it cool and then heat it up again and see if that hurts it. Yeah, I do kind of want to figure out what the water temperature is. I wonder if I'm going to need to do provisions for that. I could probably get a plug that has a thermistor in it so that I'd know what the reservoir temperature is. You don't really need to put like a thermometer out here because all the water is going to get to be about the same temperature. There might be a little bit of residual heat in the front of the laser that might be a little hotter than it would be. Gotta get a good thumbnail. When all the stored subs, there are no stored subs right now. I don't know what I'm going to be doing with that system of equity in getting fair treatment for people who have and will sub. And if I burn a little bit of wood, we can see the beam. Hold on, let's oh, the camera moved because it loosened itself. Stupid camera. There we go. That'll be a good thumbnail someday. You gotta play up to the crowd, you know? Look at that, beautiful. It's possible that I get the RC car frame today because I'm a 12-year-old. I bought an RC car. And, oh look, you can see the focal point. That's cool. Drilled PCBs with what? Regular tiny metal twist bits? That's what you do. What do you mean? What you mean? Use a high-speed drill. Yeah, so that's going to be focused very specifically on the board itself so that the focal point is right at the board. You can see if I dissipate this out a little bit, you can see it's kind of like, it comes to a point right here and then it spreads back out. Cool. Literally cool. Well, hey, that worked a lot better than I thought it would. Let's give it a little expansion and contraction here. So let's let it cool off now. So the laser turns off, and let's see how quickly this thing can return back to temperature. Can I get like the whole... I don't think I can get the whole thing in the shot, can I? No. Unfortunately, unless I move the laser way the hell up there, it's hard to get this all in one shot. Ah! And this stuff is more interesting anyway. So let's see how quickly this cools down. We'll do a view just like that. Once I unplug it. It's always fun to have the laser going during stream because they're visual and interesting and generate lots of cool thumbnails to look at. So we're not moving any air across anything. This thing has almost immediately reached the same temperature as all of the rest of the stuff. I mean, push comes to shove, I could put one of those Raspberry Pi blocks on this. I think I have extras. Yeah, I think I've got 2 of them in a thing somewhere. I could put one of the blocks on this, and that would water cool the laser driver. I mean, it's getting absurd, but it would be like these tubes would then stop off at one going to here, the other one going to here, then there would be one in between them. That cooled off very quickly. That's like cool now, right? Yeah, this is the same temperature as the water. Yeah, that works perfectly. I think the whatever the switching chip is contributing a lot of the heat, but the coil does also seem to be getting a little bit warm. What you would do is you would just put double-sided thermal tape on the ground plane. And so you'd cool the ground plane, and that would cool multiple things at once. No, you don't need anything like that. I would just use one of my spare Raspberry Pi blocks, this thing right here, and just a little double-sided thermal tape would be enough to hold that on. I don't think I'm going to go that far, though. We can let that part get warm. I don't think we have time for me to turn this off and just wait for the entire system to cool off. I think that's not quite in the table here for testing, but I can heat it up again, and we'll call that expansion. So heating up again. The fan's not in the system right now. I would need to plug it in, and that would mean jiggling wires. So SebaGamer4, thank you for subbing with a prime. Hey, I really appreciate those primes. You guys do not get reminders of those, and it's cool when you guys use them. It's very nice of you. Wait, did I get Chester Willer? Yeah, I got Ninja Bit Dev from Veet Nukem. That was a gift sub earlier. Chester Willard for 1 billion months, 43 months, 43-year anniversary. And then, of course, SebaGamer4 from just now. Pretty cool. Thank you guys for subbing. I really appreciate you. Love those contributions. Yeah, so this works pretty well, huh? What if I can't selectively turn off the pump. I can pinch it, though. It is now pinched. And now it's heating up its own water. Oh boy, look at it go. Switching from YouTube to Twitch. That's the whole reason I run the YouTube channel. And then let cooling water through. And that should return it back down. We didn't see much of a rise in temperature, though. I guess it's not creating too many BTUs. Yeah, welcome to Twitch. It's much easier to wrangle you guys on Twitch. Oh God, I heard I shook my leg because I'm ADHD, and it made a snapping noise because something of the chair leg is like separating and making a little snapping noise. I thought it was something breaking. Little snaps like that are the noise you hear when your expensive project goes tits up on you. What is my glucose level doing? Why do I feel funny? 236. I don't like it, but it is coming back down from where it was. That's that insulin pump, managing my my insulin based on previous results. keeping me in those little tiny microdoses. I gotta update that system soon, which means I need to boot up Android Studio, which I don't look forward to doing. I cannot fathom that we have successfully put this together. This is something crazy to me, that the system works and we're cooling it properly. I suppose the next step is going to be getting everything to be powered at once. That means a little bit of wiring too. I do want to run this to death though, because this is going to be up on my wall. It's going to be up on my wall for an extended amount of time. I want to make sure that everything works properly. Where's the seam for the laser? Nah. So yeah, if the laser diode goes bad in this thing, I'm going to have to deconstruct it, because that seam for the actual diode carrier is just right under here. So it would have to be broken apart in order to be used. But the thing that we ran into, or the thing that was killing this yesterday, and the reason that it got hot and stayed hot, was that there was a plug in the feed and return line. So when I unplugged one of the lines, I was seeing gravity moving liquid through. And when I unplugged the other one, it was the pump pumping liquid out. So I did not interpret that as them being blocked. But once we put everything back together for the second test, we coated the inside first. Then I coated the centerpiece when I put the laser back in. Then I did all the outside parts that have to seal water in, and it can seal the water in now. The PETG with a jacket of UV epoxy is keeping water from leaking out. And part of the test right now is to make sure that water doesn't leak out over time. But it appears to be working very well. It is keeping the laser going balls out, completely cool and functional, which is kind of amazing. Kind of amazing. And we're seeing the results of that. We're seeing the tubes heat up, and we're seeing the heat being carried away. Kung Pao Jeff giving 177 bits, saying, great setup, good job. Hey, thank you. What's the pressure in the jacket? How should I know? I don't have equipment on that. I have no idea. But it does move a little bit of fluid. When we had it tested before, when I used my caulk and I sealed it up, finally sealed up all the caulking, we had water bleeding out of the 3D print layers. I don't have a clip of that. There might be one on the clips, I'm not sure, but it's from a long time ago. But we were definitely seeing water come out of the side of the thing. And we saw it on the microscope too. Yeah, the pressure's good enough. If the pressure was not good enough, if I needed more water to flow through this thing, I probably would have to set up a system of valves. And there are like medical lure lock tubes with about this like 2 millimeter, I think, diameter that you can get for distributing stuff. And so I could run a bunch of valves and then close most of them except for the ones that's going out to the laser. Is condensation a thing? It is, but we are cooling it to air like room temperature. We're not cooling it with any refrigeration. If we use refrigeration, yeah, absolutely condensation is a thing. But like water-cooled computers and like cars and stuff like that, like you don't get condensation unless you drop below a certain temperature compared to ambient. So we don't have to worry about it here. And I've sealed the two halves of the laser diode carrier with Teflon. So theoretically, there shouldn't be any leaks in the laser itself. I really hope not. That would be devastating. The only reason there's moisture back here is because I unplugged the tubes and had them leak out in order to test this thing. There might still be like a blood clot of material somewhere in this system, which was not good. I probably should have been a little bit more careful about getting that out because we had to pop out the UV epoxy from the two fittings. It probably, there's a little bit of material rattling around. Hopefully it's caught up here and not like over there. Could cause an aneurysm by blocking flow. We got the diode running flat out. We're using about 2 amps of current. It is remaining the same temperature, only slightly warm. Could actually focus the optics here. There you go. When it comes down to it, I'm gonna have to focus it on the board, and I don't know how flat that board is. I don't know if I'm gonna need like a rangefinder on this thing. If I had a rangefinder, it would be better if this was CAN bus, but the TTL laser driver, maybe I could put like a CAN bus board to accompany it. That'd be a little bit much. with the laser disconnected. .07 amps. With the laser connected, 1.75. So we're about 700 milliamps, 700 to 800 milliamps for the laser. And we're just cooking it. See how the heat sink's getting hot too? We're just cooking. That's the whole point of today. Doing a stress test. Stress testing can be cool, but it also can be very boring. There's unfortunately like a little bit of like crusty stuff at the bottom of this reservoir. I don't know how to get rid of that. I need like a Q-tip, and oh, but the Q-tip needs to go like out and around. And see, by virtue of the volume of water that we're pumping through this whole thing, it should also be, oh yeah, we can't see through glass with thermals, but these are probably looking warm because of the cooling water. Ah, the smell of burning wood. I remember this. I remember this smell. We didn't get to see them before, but you can see that there's a little bit of heat going into this thing. And of course, I need to fix the power supply cooling thing, because that broke off. See, there's two little pads over there that are attached with the pipe. Even these are... We're dumping the heat into this big heat sink down here. This one's probably more effective than the other one because there's a fan blowing air on me right now, and the fan is blowing air into these fins. So that one's probably actually the more effective cooler, even though it's not very efficient the way it's dumping heat in. Yeah, my Raspberry Pi is a little warmer thanks to this. .16 watts for the driver. Well, with the pump going? I mean, we're not out here for efficiency. We've got 2 watts of laser energy going into a little heat sink over here and lighting everything up. So I'm kind of pointing it over there. I mean, the wasted energy, the whole point of this system is to write beautifully. So whatever energy we're wasting, it's not that big of a deal. Does this thing have specs on it? I don't think it does. Q-line A12, just 12 volt laser driver board that I've tuned to be a particular amount of current. It's getting a little toasty. How toasty are we over here? Ooh, wow, that's actually kind of hot. That's kind of hot. Any difference in current? Nope, still 1.75. So the driver board is actually the potentially the limiting factor here. If it is an ambient air, it's going to take it quite a while to get hot. If push comes to shove, I guess I could get one of my... I need the whole laser axis cart over here in order to put that together, but I could get like a Raspberry Pi cooler and just shove it on the back here with some double-sided tape. Do we have room for it? Probably not. Maybe I could flip the whole board? Nah. No, there's no room for it. Let's like somehow fit it like up here. I don't have a 3D model of it, of the Raspberry Pi cooler. Plus the tubes come out at a 45-degree angle, so maybe I'd have to put it on the front, but I don't know. Or put much taller standoffs on this thing. Or just put a piece of tube. Just one little piece of tube to give it a little bit of cooling. I mean, regardless, or I could put the 10mm fan on it. That would be hilarious. This tiny little fan just doing its best. Or just a heat sink. Just any heat sink on the back of this board would probably be good. Which I have. I have some Raspberry Pi heat sinks that I could use. I don't know where they went. Where did those go? What did I do with those little heat sinks? They're in some such drawer I can find at some point. Let's see if I can find them while we do the stress test. I'm going to leave this going. cooling everything. Let me see if I can find a little Raspberry Pi heatsink. This would be some stuff for the laser. I guess all that tube bending that I did was for nothing. Nothing, nothing, nothing. All that tube bending. Oh yeah, it's hot out. I should open the window more. It is hot out. I will open this more. I think it's in one of the divided bins, so let me look in some of my divided bins and see if I can find it. Oh, you know what? No, it's in the motor controls bins for the 3D printer. Yep, here we go. Found them. Found them immediately. Let's put a little heatsink on this board. I got to make sure that it fits on the laser carriage as well, but for now we can just put the just a small heatsink on it. Now, where's my thermal tape? I have a big roll of thermal tape for this kind of thing. It's at the bottom of everything. All right, so big roll of thermal tape, heat sinks, and lasers. Oh boy. Huh, none of these are the low profile. Here's one that's low profile. Maybe too low profile. Do they have anything else? These long boys. Long boy would do pretty good, but I don't think I'm able to fit. I wouldn't be able to fit anything else on here. Long boy going across? No. These are for FETs. These are actually for a very old RC car motor controller called the Atom, I think. I forget. But it was like orange and purple. And these purple heat sinks fit on top of MOSFETs that would cool everything. That was a long time ago. Long time ago. Back when I was young. And I've got two options in here. I have the low profile one that looks like it'll do absolutely nothing. And then I have the slightly larger one that looks like it'll do almost nothing. Where's a low profile? Have these been peeled? These haven't even been peeled yet, so I'll use one of those. And here's a low profile one. No, it's not. Where'd it go? What do I do with it? Meanwhile, the board is like, please, sir, I'm too warm. Please, all this heat. Sir, please. What did I? There it is. Okay, there it is. This one. This is the only one that would actually fit, unless I do individual heat sinks on stuff. But this is a little low profile guy. I thought I had other heat sinks though. I thought I had copper heat sinks. I must have used them for an actual Raspberry Pi though. Maybe on that one? No, there's already one on there. It might be sitting in a different drawer too. So it's either this guy or this guy. This guy could go on the chip, but then the coil wouldn't be cooled, and it certainly won't fit underneath. There's definitely not room for that. So I'll just put this on the chip right now, and we'll just see if that affects this at all. Watch it blow out the laser diode, and the laser diode just stops working. That doesn't seem to want to even stick. That's not very good thermal compound. Well, let's see if it does anything. Yeah, there we go. It certainly isn't going to be as effective as putting another water cooler on this thing. I don't think we're going to immediately see any effect from the heatsink, to be honest. Unless I like blow high pressure air through it or something, it's just not going to show its cards so soon. But it will heat up with everything else, and that sort of leads to a little bit of heat dissipation. The body of the whatchamacallit, the body of the cart that this board goes into is plastic, so it's not going to have any effect on heat leaking out or anything like that. But let's see here. See if I can just do another one. Oh, that's not sticky at all. Darn it. Any of you have peelable backs still? This one's kind of adhesive. Actually, yeah, this one will stick better. Give me this back. Beautiful anodized ones. There. It's all I can do. Sell the same driver with a heatsink for 4 amp output or up to 2 amp output without heatsink. Huh. Where do they put the heatsink? Because now I have heat sinks too. I mean, you know, like push comes to shove, I could do the thing where I glue or solder a copper tube and then have a fitting on each side of this. They put it on the underside. Yeah, that's probably the better place to cool. I could just run like a copper piece on the underside there and then have that be the first stop for the water. So one of these loops would go into that and then it would cool this as well, just because. We could probably do that up in a couple minutes here. Let me get a piece of copper tube. And where are those? I need my copper pads. I don't know where those are. See if I can find them real quick, because we can make that in about 10 minutes if I have all the parts in front of me. That's an easy one. They should have been in the bin that I just had. The, what do you call it? The water cooling, sorry, the motor cooling bin. This one up here. But I don't see them. So they must have moved. Where did you go? Okay, let's put that away. Let me see what other bins I have. I don't think they made it into the water cooling bin. Oh, where are my copper pads? What do I do with those? Let me see. That's a camera case. There is nothing of interest in here, right? That's all laser parts. I don't see copper pads anywhere. This water cooling stuff is a little bit extra, but I'm leaning into it. I'm leaning into it for the beams. No copper pads in there. Let's see. Oh, that's gonna, hold on, I just threw out that wet paper towel, but it's gonna hold the garbage open. I had to put the top on the garbage because it was stinking up the entire shop. What with the, what you call it? All of the glue that I threw out yesterday. I could use some of these what are they called? Thermal pads. Heat pipes, there we go. Mineral oil cool everything. Yep, just have a sprayer in the middle of the shop. Oh, these are copper, I gotta be careful. Like if I held one here, look at how quickly the end heats up. Active passive cooling, fun stuff. Actually, the one with the tape on it would be more revealing. There's not a lot of room in this for heat to move around, but if you observe on the end here, when I push this up against this heat, that's what I meant. I meant just have a like a washing machine sprayer in the middle of the shop, just squirting mineral oil all over the place. You can see how quickly that heats up on the end. I don't actually think that these are a good idea to use here, though. I don't think they're actually a good idea. What else do we have in here, though? This is the water cooling stuff bin. Part of it's been completely taken over by these lure lock fittings. So I don't really know what I have in here. Any magical little surprises? Not really. Now, are there the... I don't know what happened to the blocks that went to the Raspberry Pis. Those are somewhere or other, and I don't know where. Those would be the good parts to use here. Although, no, I can't get one on the underside, so I'd have to make something. Yeah, plop the ham. Pickle surprise. You know, an HD version of that came out? Not recently, but an HD version did come out of pickle surprise. I'll put this away where it's not going to fall. And then I'm looking for a bunch of little copper pads that I had. These little copper pads I could use to make heat sinks, but I don't think I used them up. So they got to be somewhere around here. I just can't find them. Just can't find them. If only I could find one of these. Here, this thing just reminded me. For cooling the laser, if I really wanted to get more performance out of it, they have these 50 ohm loads that you can put on RF stuff. If I could get a laser into one of those and then run water around those fins, that would be great. Probably not happening, but still fun. We got those little RF heat sinks. I do not know where those little pieces of copper could have gone. I could have done up a heat sink in about 5 seconds with them too. Let's check this over here. Yeah, this is from when I cleaned up. Oh man, the area over there that I've been standing in with all the stuff making all the heat is much warmer than it is over here. Over here by the window, it's luxurious. Nice and cool. Finally dry off. Oh, before those circuit boards get here, I'm probably going to have to order... What are these? What the hell are these? I'm probably going to have to order potentiometers. Need to do another order. Then we'll go factory mode and build a bunch of VCOs. It'll be fun. Yeah, I don't know where those went, so we're not going to make a heatsink. It would have been fun, but I don't know. I don't have those copper pads anymore. That's all the stuff down here. It's copper pads. Anyone? Rust-Oleum. That's not right. What is all this stuff? This is computer stuff. Computer, and some other spillover 3D printer stuff. But I don't see any of the parts for cooling. Oh, there's actually one of the laser diode. So that, wait a minute, there is stuff for cooling in here. This might be pay dirt. Might be the one we're looking for. Hard to tell. Let's bring it over. Bring it over here. Let's see what we got. Here's the valve that I'd want to use for if we ever did the water-cooled 3D printer, which don't tempt me, but if we ever did the water-cooled 3D printer, I'd use this valve to turn on and off the bed cooling, because it's just a motorized ball valve. It's kind of cool. This big old valve. Here's some unidentified chips that I need to get into my organization. Oh, good. I'm caught on the pedals all the way over here. That's fun. That's fun. I'm having fun. You know, the big water cooling bin might have it too. I'm just looking for either one of the Raspberry Pi coolers or a bunch of little copper plates that I had. Brackets. Why brackets? Do I really need to keep this? This is the NXZT, just like weird thing. That's getting thrown away. That's going away. Goodbye. Let's see, fan cover for that computer. I guess I'll hold on to it because it's for that computer. Heat spreader for something? I don't know what. Definitely something very specific though. But why did I hold on to this? Don't need it. Didn't have good experience with those ball valves. Sometimes they get stuck just a tiny bit open. Oh, the controls tire pressure on a tractor. That's a bad experience. Yeah, I've never had any experience with those. I bought that a long time ago, and I operated it a couple times, and I was like, neat. I mean, if it was on a 3D printer, I don't think it's that high priority. If it doesn't close all the way, it would be just like there would be just a little bit of water flow to the bed, which I guess would then work harder. Yeah, that could actually be pretty bad, to be honest. That could actually be pretty bad. That could heat soak your whole system. All right, what else is in this bin? Water pump that I'm never going to use. A little tiny one. It's like a coffee maker pump. O-rings from EKWB, that might be useful. There's a lot of 3D, a lot of the prints for the water cooling jacket that I've been trying to make work. A water heated print bed, yeah. I'm running my hot water bed through my heat bed for my printer. Keeps the house warm. I don't think they're in here. I am finding a lot of these parts that we previously messed with, but this bin is not exactly focused. They're like drone parts in here. Like my drone that I never flew. I never flew it. I only built it and built it again and built it again and built it again and then built it again and then built it again and then I built it again. It was fun building it again and again and again, but never flew it. So I had to cut my losses on drones. Now that you have to have licensing in order to fly them. No, it's not in here. Okay, darn. This whole bin is subject to getting thrown out. And under here, well, there's the windshield wiper switch for the BMW that I bought. I was gonna have the control stalks on the steering wheel project, but it was too many buttons and we didn't get around to it really. Maybe we'll do it someday because I do have the two parts. We just need to make the thing that they mount to on the steering wheel, which typically is the clock spring, but we don't have a clock spring on the steering wheel project. I don't know where these parts are. Darn. We don't need to do anything with the TTL laser board. It's been running now longer than typically it would be, and it hasn't caused any problems, and our laser is at full power. Which BMW? It's that BMW. That right there. That's the force feedback Mercedes steering wheel, and I wanted to put a stock on it in order to have it have the ability to do like turn signals and stuff like that. But right now, it's just a prop. Whenever somebody makes a comment about BMW drivers, I pull this thing out to prove that there is in fact a turn signal on the BMW. Oh, I need to put this stuff away. Here. All right, so we're just doing a stress test right now. This is just literally just sitting. I keep saying just. This is just sitting. I said it again. We are sitting here doing a stress test. My indicator is pristine. Yeah, I keep it in here. Look at you. What is it? I forget what the other one is. Whatever, anyway. With your pristine turn indicator. It actually feels, no, it doesn't feel that much cooler. I don't really think these heat sinks are doing anything in particular. I guess they kind of are, but it's not like it's going to drop it back down to ambient. The real amazing cooling that we could do with it is if I found those copper squares that I have and I put a tube loop under this thing, and then we would actually see quite a bit of heat dumped into the water system. But right now the water system it shows heat. It's not nearly as hot as my hand, so I can't feel the heat coming from there. It's definitely not ambient, and we know that because this pump will not allow it to become ambient temperature. Even the heat sink on the pump is still pretty warm. I don't know how much heat the pump dumps into the water, but it should be dumping quite a bit. This type of pump does tend to get warm too. But we can see all of the different components of the system are gaining heat from the water flowing through them. So technically they are radiators in the system. Like this giant heat sink right here is technically acting as a radiator for me. But then down here we have the laser, which is pumping heat into the system, and the only thing that's unable to pump heat into the system is the driver board, and the driver board is only getting slightly warm, which is pretty darn good. So if I have a mental breakdown at some point in the future, I could put the little copper squares underneath this board and run water to it. It would just be another jump for this tube to do. I'd basically just need a tube between this, and I'd plug in on the end of there with that, and then this one in there, and then everything would be water cooled. But listen, there's a certain point of overkill for your overkill that I am overkilling. I could also chop up a different heatsink like that one there and put it on the underside. That one's pretty low profile. So if I really feel like truly having a mental breakdown, I guess I could cut up that heatsink and attach it underneath this. And then there would be a little bit of heat sinking and on the laser card itself. It would be in the area. I actually don't know if there's enough room. I don't know if there's enough room. Look at this. That's really not that much room. I could throw a tube in there. I mean, if I did it around these things, like here, I would have room for a little bit of one. This design is a weird one because I'm not like very confident in this design. We left overkill behind. It's true. We are a little bit past that point, aren't we? Huh. Nah, I don't think I should dump heat from the TTL board. Maybe once we get Burn the Subs working, we can evaluate whether or not I feel like doing that. But like here's what happens. This is why I'm complaining. Not even as hot as my burnt hands. Oh, how did that get all the way over here? Huh. When I'm using the arm, this part will straighten out, and then when I try to move the camera over this way, it won't allow me to. So I need to like put a bunch of force into it in order to get it to bend. And then I'm able to actually move the camera out of the way because like the whole thing straightens out like that. And then I end up trying to move the camera, and you can see I could like put my weight into it right now. It's not moving. So I need to kind of, so that's why I make the noises that I make when I move the camera around. Like, why does Father make all these weird, stupid noises? Is he a freak? What is he, stupid? Oh, that heat right there. Still pretty cool. Yeah, we don't have any numbers to put behind it because I don't have any sensors in the waterways. But we'll have to see what happens when this thing is fully functioning, whether or not our laser will be overwhelmed by heat or will it just be whelmed. But this works perfectly. With the ultraviolet glue in there, it seals the outside and allows water to flow over the nickel jacket, cooling the laser. You can see there is a little bit of heat up here because this is where it's dumping all the heat to. The backing piece is basically a heat sink. It's not a very good one at that. We've made it into a super duper heat sink by blowing water across it. I could have allowed this to be a little bit more serviceable by moving the whole laser carrier up and then having the hot part just stick out, and then we'd have our super duper heatsink on the back of it. That would make the laser a little warmer, but it would allow me to get into this if anything happens. But you guys saw at the beginning of the stream, it only took me about 45 minutes to get this thing completely ready and set up. So I think this is a very good system. The system we used is basically there's a lot of ultraviolet running around here, so I'm probably going to end up, this might actually accidentally activate as I get it into view here. This syringe, this is a cheap Amazon syringe tip, plastic syringe tip, and these are Luer Lock syringes. These are, what is it, 3 milliliter BD Luer Lock syringes. These are really good to have on hand. They're great for gluing stuff, especially when you have disposable tips, disposable Luer Lock tips. And I have a huge variety of Luer Lock hardware available to me because I'm diabetic and I do a lot of stuff with, I have a lot of Luer Lock syringes, but you can find all this stuff online. It's sold without, you don't need a prescription for any of it. You can just buy them. Sterile syringes, I think you need a prescription for, but not the non-sterile ones. Now, if this laser hits this, that actually didn't activate the glue as much as I thought it would. Little bit. Man, lasers are just cool for lighting stuff up, aren't they? Now it's activating. Oh, no, didn't activate it fully. Yeah, usually what I'll do is I'll leave the syringe out by accident, and then eventually it's gone completely hard. But there should be a large UV component to this. That'll probably eventually harden up, but... All right, so yeah, this has been a short stream. I don't know if I'm going to keep going. What time is it? It's 3 o'clock. We succeeded on the first try, which is something that can happen here. It's something that can happen with these streams. Usually I go into it with a goal, and we've achieved the goal right away. So we will have to figure out what I'm going to be doing next stream. Hopefully, in the next couple days, I get this frame for the RC car. The next stages with Burn the Sub, though, are... I mean, I've got to do wiring. We have to start powering up some of these systems. Yeah, I'm on the East Coast of the United States, so we're in the past in more ways than one. But yeah, so okay. A couple things that we need to do with this system is we need to get everything powered up at once. That doesn't include the screen because this isn't water cooled. But what I want to do is get all of the systems dumping heat into the water cooling, including the power supply. I want to see what this thing has in store for us. This power supply is a Vicor flat pack. It's a 24-volt power supply. If you run these Vicor modules without a load on them, they'll screech at 60 hertz. So I do have a dummy load that I can put on this thing. We could put like a big resistor on it too, possibly, and just see what kind of noises it's going to make as it operates. Or we can plug it into the 12-volt power supply behind the Pi. Behind the Pi. Take the Pi off, get my thermal stuff glued back onto there, and then wire up some of the wiring harness to try to get this thing to run. So there's a lot of wiring in our future. Hopefully I'll be getting the new heatsink soon, and we can turn this into sort of a more normal system, but hooking everything up is going to be kind of our next thing to power. Once we get everything powered, I got the motors hooked up over here, and we'll have to send 12 volts and TTL all the way out to the laser driver. And then I guess maybe another signal. I don't know if I want to have... If we do the laser rangefinder thing, I'll have to have the laser rangefinder and a servo. And then the servo signal will move that... we can make an adapter for the screw tip of this thing and have a servo move that back and forth in order to keep the laser in focus. But yeah, okay, so lots of good progress. We have a bunch of people here today. I think, what do we want to do? Oh, Rabo's is playing something weird, so I think unless one of my homies is on, let me check to see. Yeah, because I mean, all you'd have to do is have it tune into like a distance. I don't know what Clipper supports though, but if you just have it do a laser distance and then you take that number and you turn that into a rotation for a servo, that's it, right? You could do that with a geared stepper, or you could do that with a just a servo motor. But thanks for the bits, thanks for the subs. This has been a very short stream because we succeeded the first time. I did not expect that at all. I did not expect that at all. Let me check to see who's on, if there's any homies on. Only 300 viewers. Who the hell? No, there aren't. Ella's doing My Summer Car. Voices of the Void. Quasi-Morph. I don't even know what that is. Myth of Empires. Slow Day. Classy Packs is still on. You're doing Cyberpunk though. It's nice when things work out sometimes. Yeah, and I don't want to pull you guys along with a stream where nothing's happening. Usually I have something that I can pivot into, but I need a little brain space, and I think I'm gonna maybe upload like one VOD today. The life of an engineer. You succeeded, so here's more work. I don't know where those copper pads are too. If I could have found those, we could have water cooled the laser board. But we really don't need to, because this stress test has been going on for quite a while and nothing bad has happened. Still waiting for the day when everything works. I can tell you that in my tenure taking stuff apart and putting it back together as a kid, there's a point that you eventually reach where things start going together the first time, like either going back together or like you build a circuit and it just works the way you intended. There's a point you can get to where that happens, and it's creepy. You're like, whoa, hold on, wait a minute. That worked the first time? Why? All right, so I'm gonna let this sit for as long as I can, and then I'll turn it back on fully to see if it leaks. But I'm starting to gain a little bit of confidence in this. We got our system up to temperature, like it got warm, and I don't think anything particularly egregiously expanded or contracted. So when things going back together and actually working better, not worse than before. Yes, it's creepy. It's creepy. Anyway, thank you guys for joining me. Here's like some social media stuff I can put as like an end command maybe for the stream. Here we go. Look at all that stuff. So that's the stuff that I'm on. I barely use Twitter anymore, and I am dead naming it, and I will continue to. But that's Twitter, and it's sort of slow progress of destabilization. The electronics sphere of Twitter is a little bit better. But yeah, I'm not doing much on there. Every now and then I'll retweet something. But I'm also on Discord, and I'm also almost constantly on Discord. So if you guys join us in Shek W9Q, I'll more than likely be there, and I will catch you guys on Thursday when we come back. And I don't know if I get that RC car, we'll work on the RC car. Otherwise, Baloo, you're just in time for the end. If I get other stuff in the mail, we'll have other stuff to do. If I find my stupid pieces of copper, that would also be a thing that we can do. Push comes to shove, we're just going to work on more wiring up of this control panel. That's me, right on time. Oh, and we also have to design something that'll hold on to the tubes. Unless I have room to put the tubes in the drag chain, otherwise I'll hang them on the side. We'll figure it out when we get there. I will catch you guys on Discord until Thursday. Adieu. I don't know. Goodbye. Whatever. What's